Welcome back, everyone. We hear a lot about the importance of self-care these days, but when it comes to our mental health, are we actually listening? More than 1 in 5 women in the U.S. experienced a mental health condition in the past year. Yet some of us, especially, again, us ladies, us women, we still don't make our mental health a priority. We thought this was absolutely something that we should dive into today in Real Talk. Of course, author Dina Babel is back with us. Co-founder of Ed to Biz, Michelle DeShields, is also back, and making her Real Talk debut, midlife lifestyle coach, Kwavi Agbe is with us. Yay. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
I am so happy you're here. It's just such an important time to talk about this. Happens to be Mental Health Awareness Week. A great time to really examine why this is happening. When you look at those numbers, 1 in 5 women are experiencing mental health issues, and they're putting themselves on the back burner. We feel emotionally just drained from day to day, but what can we do about it, and how do we ask for help? Because I think that's a really part of the issue. So do you feel like in this day and age, in your circle, that you are hearing women kind of waving the flag going, guys, I'm exhausted, I need help? Kwavi, I'll start with you.
Yeah, and yes, I hear a lot about that. And as a lifestyle coach, I help women with that. Because I think one of the things that women do is we love to help everyone.
Yeah.
And then we forget that we also have to help ourselves. I always say you can't give from an empty cup.
Right.
You keep on giving and giving and giving, but what about you?
Right.
And I tell my women that I work with, taking care of yourself is not selfish.
Right.
And women don't really realize that. And you have to keep on drilling. I mean, I even offer retreats for women where women leave their homes, go somewhere else, because even when they're home and they say, okay, I'm going to take it easy, they never do.
Oh, never.
That's true.
It's like, no, I have to. You don't have to do everything.
Right. That's
right.
It's like you have to, and the thing is, you keep on going, eventually it gets to a point where your health suffers. Eventually you get that knock, that signal, because you get those signals beforehand,
Right.
like something's wrong, and then eventually something big happens. And you don't want
And
that
you don't
to
want
happen.
it to get to that point. Michelle,
Yeah.
do you feel like the stigma has been lessened in these recent years, and maybe that's why we are having these conversations? Clearly hasn't been lessened enough if those stats are still what they are. But do you feel like they're we are able to really talk about it or put it on the table more than we ever were?
Well, I've been in the mental health arena for maybe about 17 years now, especially working in education, and I have definitely seen a change. I think we're on the path to being more comfortable talking about mental health, especially when we see celebrities come out openly and talk about it.
I think that
Or
helps.
athletes, we see that, so
Yeah.
it makes us feel a little bit more comfortable, and it's definitely a positive change to that. Now we're trying to silence the shame or stop the stigmas that are associated with mental health.
I agree.
So we're definitely moving in a positive direction, but we still have a ways to go.
Right, and Dina,
sure.
I know you working with so many women with your books and empowering women who have had maybe childhood wounds, but we're clearly not where we should be, as we keep saying, but are you noticing that these women they want to find their voice and before it's too late?
Yes.
With their physical health
Yes.
taking an impact.
Yeah, I think what I see is men are paying attention more. I think that in my world, even in corporate America and in doing books and helping women, that I see men starting to pay attention, like she might have too much on her plate, maybe I
Yes.
can help her out. And I think the conversation's getting better in our marriages and our relationships. I also think, back to your point, that women will say, I need a break, but if a girlfriend calls or someone's having an emergency, you feel
Yes.
pulled to go,
Yes.
I need to make sure she's okay, so then you're putting yourself back on the back burner
Right.
again.
Correct.
Yes.
Because my husband says sometimes, you don't have to counsel everybody. And I'm like, no, I do. That's who I am, and I like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm a hero or a god. I feel pulled to make people feel better.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
But do I think it makes me take a back burner on myself? Yes.
sure.
So I
Yes.
get a milkshake and I watch Hallmark.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Call me next time. That sounds fun, doesn't it?
That's real fun.
And listen, I'm just going to say, like, after a show here recently, she saw, was going through something, and she did drop it. I don't know what she had planned, but she canceled it. Was like, let's go have a bite, and that is the thing. You are a great friend, and so it's going to get me teary-eyed. And so many of us, it's so true. Just when we're like, yes, I'm saying no, I'm going to do self-care, then suddenly, nope. something just
Yeah.
pulls us, and we are
Right
helping
back,
others, and
right back.
that fills my tank in many ways,
Yes.
but it's still not.
It's still a lot.
Right,
Yeah.
because as women, we have to understand that it's okay to say no.
Yes.
Yes.
It's okay to
Yeah.
not be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to
Yeah.
realize that and understand that that's the only way that we're going to be able to have
Yeah.
self-care for ourselves or
Yeah.
take care of ourselves.
Right.
We can't constantly keep going
Yeah.
without doing
Yes.
that.
Yeah, and to
Go ahead. No,
I was
no.
going to say, and just to kind of go along with that, sometimes when you're saying no to others, it means you're saying yes to yourself.
Yeah. That's
right.
You have to realize that. It's
I
not
know.
because you don't want, it's because you have to say yes to yourself sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I just thought about? You know how when you can put the outgoing text and say, I can't talk right now or I'm busy, I'll call you. We need to put a text and say, I'm having a mental health day.
I know, right?
I'll talk to you later.
It's
Call
so-
me back with your issues. I
Right.
That is so
Yeah.
true. We need like a cute emoji that's like serious, but it's still kind of cute.
Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to jump off a cliff, but
Right.
right now I'm chilling.
Right, right.
Yeah.
At the moment, yes.
Give me a few minutes.
Yes. We'll hear what the experts say why we should actually make this of the utmost importance in our life. Because number one, it affects your physical health. A poor mental state can increase your risk of heart disease, diabetes, other serious illnesses. That is a no-brainer. It is a science. So you would think that we would pay more attention. I think we are, but still not doing it as much as we should, right?
Well,
No,
we're not,
no.
because I think it's easier to ignore something that we can't see, like our mental and our physical. We look in the mirror every day.
Yes.
We don't like the way we look. Our pants are getting a little too tight, or we want to fill out a dress a little bit better. So we can see that physically, but mentally, we can't see that. So it's easier to ignore that. We can put on a face easily, especially in the world of social media.
media.
Right.
Yeah.
And people are more concerned about how they appear to look than really how they
You know-
are
Yeah,
inside.
that is so, yeah, that
You
is
know-
true.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You know
go
what
ahead.
else? I think when there's something physical wrong with you, just like emotional or spiritual or whatever's going on, being a nurse and practicing that for a lot of years, women try to outrun it.
Yes.
We try to outrun
So
it.
true.
Because we're like, you know what? I need to work around my schedule. I'll get to the dentist. Or my blood sugar's high, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I'll quit eating candy for a couple of days.
Yes.
You don't go forward with, how do I make sure I'm okay? You wait till you crash.
Absolutely.
That's so
I mean, you have to
true.
crash.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
that's true. And to go on with that, what you just said, it's like if you ask any mother, have you ever rescheduled your child's appointment?
right.
They'll be like, never. Have you rescheduled yours?
Yes.
Have you
All the time.
rescheduled your root job?
Yes, yes. I'm finally going today. honey.
It's like we have to realize that we can't keep going like
Right.
this. We will lose steam. And sometimes drastic things happen before we take a look. And
Yeah.
we don't want to get to that point.
Right.
Well, this experts also say that having a positive attitude while dealing with something serious, of course, we know this, will help you heal faster. We know those people who maybe unfortunately were diagnosed with cancer or some health
Yes.
issue, and they had the best positive attitude, and it helped them get through it. Do you believe that emotionally we can use mind over matter? I mean, how far will that take us?
Okay, so my premise with that is it can take you so far, but I also know that you can't be happy in all situations.
Right.
And sometimes not accepting the emotion that's coming up for you is a problem. For instance, I do something where I tell my clients, I'm like, do you want to be happy all the time? And most people are like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Let me show you how you be happy all the time. If something bad happens in the news, be happy. If someone is sick, be happy. You can't be happy all the time. The issue is you have to be ready to deal with that emotion and feel it, because sometimes we're like, oh, I don't want to feel bad, so I'm going to go do this. And you look for
Right.
external stuff, whether it's over shopping or overeating or over drinking.
Bad habits,
Bad-
that's
so
the
we
next
have to be
point.
careful with that. The positive thing works, but you have to deal with it in every situation and be true to yourself. Are you really
Right.
accepting, what's going on?
Well, and that's the point that the experts say. The next point is if you don't keep checking in, it can lead to bad habits. You can feel unworthy of affection. You can subconsciously sabotage your relationships, make those bad choices. Have you seen this spiral with people? I know probably.
Yeah, yeah, I
people-
have. But you know what? I was thinking about something when you were talking again. We're on the same energy level. I read this study about happiness, and it was saying, and I might mess up the statistics, but it was saying that 40% of your happiness comes from hereditary. If you're going to be happy, and that's going to be your outlook, so it's hereditary. 10 or 15% is about where you physically are. So, you know, we all know the people that go through a breakup and they're like, I'm moving to California. You're going to California too. What's in here?
Right.
So the other 40%, my math's off, whatever percent is left, is based on how your outlook is. And that if you don't change your outlook,
Right.
you can only move if your
Right.
outlook's the same, and you can't do anything about hereditary.
Right.
So it's got to be mentally how you choose to see it.
Yes.
Do you choose to forgive? Do you choose to have good intentions? Do you choose to be happy? Or would you rather play victim? Or would you rather? And
Thank
that's
you.
hard.
It
Because
really
victims
is.
are usually victims.
Right.
Yes.
So you have to shift, and that balance
So
and
true.
shift
It
So
is
true.
what we're all working on.
That's
We
it.
are.
Amen. Praise the
Yes.
Lord.
This
Yes.
is what International Day of the Girl. I hate that we're out of time, so I'm going to make sure Trent posts, because now that we, basically identified the problem that we knew was there, we have some ways, a great list of therapy, working out, back away from your phone, go to sleep 10 minutes earlier, all the things we can do just to make sure that we get our mental health exactly where we need it to be. Trent's coming up next. Yes. That was great.